Hello students, I'm Anita Abraham, Associate Professor of English, Vivekananda Government Degree College, Hyderabad. Welcome to the English classroom. This is video number 29. Today's English lesson is from semester 3 of the General English curriculum prescribed by Osmania University for students of BA, BCom, BSc and BBA. Today's topic is titled Review Writing Book Review. If you like my video, please subscribe and press the bell icon so that you get notified of subsequent videos. Let's get started. Today's topic is review writing and we will be focusing on how to write a book review. Before that, let's quickly go through what goes into review writing. All right? What is a review? A review is a short critical assessment of a book, film, product or service. Okay, so you can make an assessment, a critical assessment after having observed, evaluated, it could be a product, it could be a service, it could be a book or a film. It gives the reader or the listener a quick idea about what the book is, the film is, what is the product all about, and or the service that is being provided. It conveys the viewer's opinion about the book, film, product or service and helps the reader of the reviewer, or if somebody is listening to a review, to make up their mind whether they need to, if it's a book, read the book, watch a film or buy a product or use a service. All right. There is no standard formula for writing a book review, but there are certain important elements that go into a well-written review. Review should follow the basic principle of review writing, which is facts first and interpretation last principle. Okay, so the facts about the book, the facts about the film, the facts about the product, the facts about the service should be presented first and the reviewer's interpretation should come after that. So that's what in review writing nomenclature, the format to be followed is fact first, interpretation last principle. In other words, review should first inform, describe, analyze and then evaluate in that order. Informing and describing the book, the film, the product or service, and then go on to analyzing and evaluating. So then you will be following the fact first, interpretation last principle of review writing. Review should not shy away from making judgments. Okay, so you can, or the reviewer can present his perspective, viewpoint, opinion, judgment. Okay, because we judge everything in our daily lives, from the toothpaste that we use in the morning to something as important as the leaders we elect who govern us. And we take these decisions based on judgments, our opinions, our viewpoint, our worldview. Okay, so it is important for the reviewer to take a stance in a review and make the criteria known. On what basis are they taking this stance, so that those who disagree with the reviewer's assessment of the film, the book, the product or service can understand on what basis, on what criteria has the reviewer taken this particular stance. Okay, and the only requirement from the reviewer while presenting their opinion, perspective, viewpoint or judgment on a particular book, film, service or product is that the opinions, judgments, perspective, viewpoint should be supported by two important things. One, reason and other, evidence. Okay, based on evidence and reason, the reviewer can take a stance, a viewpoint, an opinion, express their judgment in their interpretation of the part of the review, but it should be backed by reason and evidence. Writing reviews, therefore, is a useful exercise for students and for users of the language, because it helps us become effective communicator. So you are reviewing a book that you like, you or don't like, something that you have read, a film that you have watched, or a product that you are using, or a service that you have used. So you are writing your opinion, you are presenting the facts first and writing an opinion about it. And it's a habit that we can cultivate, because it helps enhance so many skills. For example, reading or watching, or keenly observing and understanding, comprehension, contrasting, comparing, analysis, then communicating after critically thinking about it and offering one's perspective and viewpoint. So these are very important 21st century skills, and review writing about a book, film, service, product, all of them help us hone these skills. In this lesson, we will learn how to write a book review, and also look at the vocabulary that is useful in writing these reviews. Okay, so let's move on to book review. So what is a book review? A book review is a balanced assessment of a book. Okay, it can be fiction, it can be non-fiction, it can be of practical utility, whatever. It is a balanced assessment of a book. It offers a brief description of the book's key point and provides an interpretation or evaluation of its strength and weaknesses. So first the facts and then the interpretation or evaluation. A book review should not be confused with book reports, because they are two different things. Okay, a book report is a short description of the book, a fiction, non-fiction, a textbook, a book of practical utility. But a book review is an assessment of the book. So we must be very clear about these two forms of writing: the book report, which describes in brief about the book, and the book review, which is a balanced assessment of the book, which will have a fact first, interpretation, evaluation later, principle. So what does a book report do? It summarizes and explains the content of a book, its theme, plot, character, and so on, and gives a personal opinion on whether the person who's writing the report liked it or not. But book review, on the other hand, is relatively longer. They analyze the book and give, reasoned argument, evidence to support, the strength and the weakness of the book. So we must be very careful. We should not confuse the two types of writing, the book report and the book review. So what should go into a good book review? A book review should take care of the following. What is the first one? The basic information about the book. Who is the author? What is the title? Who is the publisher? How many pages are there? And what is the price? Then the second step would be to a preview of the book. Tell what it is about, what it is like, how does it work, just a teaser kind of, a sampling of what is the main essence of the book. Then the third step would be the reviewer's response, whether or not the reviewer enjoyed it and for what reason. Okay, so it should be based on evidence and reason. And then the next step, the fourth step, would be the reviewer's advice, whether the book is worth the time, effort, money the reader is likely to spend on it. So there would be an evaluation. So after the analysis, which is based on evidence and reason and good support from the book, okay, then the reviewers stance on whether it is worth reading or not. The main purpose of the review, a book review, is to offer potential readers of the book a dispassionate an unbiased assessment of the book its literary or academic merit or practical utility, depending on what kind. Is it a fiction, non-fiction? Is it a textbook? Is it a research book? So based on it, what the review has to do is give an unbiased, dispassionate assessment of the book, so that potential readers can decide whether they need to spend their time, effort on and money on the book. All right. So let's look at the four distinct steps that should be followed, that could be followed by when writing a book review. The first is, step one is, before you read. Okay, before you begin to read, think of the elements that should go into the review. What is the title of the book? What meaning does the title convey? Who is the author? What else has he or she written? What does the author usually write about? Politics, religion, issues? Is there a favorite genre? So this is the reviewing stage. Okay, even before you have read the book, you must have this you must have activated your background knowledge about the writer and about what kind of writing he or she does, so that you go to the book with well prepared to review it. Then also need to take into consideration what kind of book it is. Is it imagination, or is it fiction, non-fiction? Does it have practical utility, or is it for entertainment? What kind, genre? Then what is the structure of the book? Is it divided into chapters? Do chapters have titles? Is there a preface, an introduction, a disclaimer, a postface, appendix? The structure of the book needs to be analyzed. All right. And what is the physical quality of the book? Is it hardbound? Is it softbound? Is it bulky? What is the print? What is the paper quality? So a physical evaluation also of the book must be done. This is all before you really start reading the book. Then step two would be, as you read, what you need to do is think of the components of the book you will want to write about in your review. Generally, every book has two broad components: content and form. So the answer to the question, what is the book about, would be the content. Okay, and the answer to the question, how is it done, how is the book written, would be form. So look at the technical vocabulary that is used for book review: content, form. Okay, so you need to concentrate on what the book is about and the form of the book, how the author has gone about writing the book. Okay, and the content also can be again divided into first, theme. So what is the theme of the book? The theme is the abstract idea that a book explores. It could be freedom, slavery, beauty, love, friendship, and it generally remains unstated and has to be inferred. As you're reading the book, you will know that is the predominant theme. Okay, it is understated, but then the plot, the characters, the subplot all are intertwining to highlight the theme of the book. All right. Then we must also concentrate on the subject of the book. The subject refers to the concrete manifestation of that abstract idea. Okay, for instance, to convey the abstract idea of nature's beauty, the writer may write about flowers or rainbow, or the writer may write about a caged bird to convey the idea of slavery. So what is the theme and how is that theme concretized, manifested in the book? So we must concentrate on these two for the theme and the theme and the subject for the content of the review. Similarly, when you're looking at form, it's a broad category and it includes everything that the writer uses to transmit, to transact to the reader the content. So it would include the language of the book, the style of the book, the narrative technique of the book, the point of view of that the writer has taken, the setting, the symbolism, imagery, all that would go into the form of the book. Okay, so then the how the writer uses all these, and how and other means that the writers have used to convey the main idea, the central theme of the book. While content and theme are the two broad categories, the review writer should also pay to attention to some of the other elements while reading a book for reviewing. And what is that? The main theme or the chief argument of the book, the substantiation of the argument with proof and evidence, all right, the important characters and event in the book, okay, the language. Also concentrate on the language and style of the author, the tone or the mood of the book. Is it genial, informal, formal? Okay, you should be able to identify the tone and the mood of the book, and any special features of the book. Does it have illustrations, okay, in the middle of the book, okay, or references to other book or other sources of information? So those are certain things that the book reviewer must keep in mind. Then after reading the book, giving it a thorough reading, keeping all these points in mind, you go to step 3 is when you start writing the review. After reading the book and forming an opinion, get down to writing it. Go to the notes that you have made while you were reading the book and write the first draft of the review when the book is still fresh in the mind. Okay, so otherwise, you will miss out on those little nuances of the book, which, makes a book a good reading or not. So when it's fresh in your mind, it's good to write your first draft. Begin with a short summary of the book. Do not go into the details and don't give away too much. Okay, it's like a teaser. It's just a sampling. The review should be so, interesting that the reader should read the review and want to read the book. Okay. Do not go into details and don't give away too much of the content. In the same paragraph, try to contextualize, not evaluate the book by referring to other books by the author and books by other writers on the subject. So you could scaffold your lead paragraph by, cross-referring to other books written by the same author, or, books by other authors on the same subject, on the same genre. Okay, so you could do that in your lead paragraph. And then after the first paragraph, where you have front loaded this, or which is your lead paragraph, eye catching, it should attract the reader to continue reading the review and then go and read the book also, which after introducing the main plot, the chief argument of the book, provide further details of the book in the second paragraph and the third paragraph on how the plot progresses, who the main characters are, how the argument is developed, what the supporting arguments are. Not in, you don't give away everything, but you just, talk about it so that the reader gets enough information to make an informed decision whether he or she wants to read the book. After the information about the book and discussion, provide evaluation. Okay, remember, the purpose of the review is not merely to give a summary of the book, but also you have to critically evaluate, give a critical evaluation of the book. Okay, you evaluate the book. A reader expects to know what the book is about, as well as the reviewer's assessment whether the reviewer liked it or not, and what are the reasons, okay, why the reviewer liked it or did not, so that they can make an informed judgment. The evaluation of the book by the reviewer must be done by focusing on key elements of the book and by weighing it against other books on the same on the subject, either by the same author or by others. The balance between description and evaluation depends on the target readership. Whom are you writing the review for? So how much of description the reviewer should put into the review, and how much of evaluation. It should be balanced. Anyway, it should be a just balance, but also keep the reader in mind, the kind of reader who is going to read your review, and then balance these two aspects out. That is the description and the evaluation of the book. For example, if the review is meant for general readership, description and discussion must be given more space than evaluation. If the review is intended for a specialist readership, evaluation should be given more preference over description. Okay, but generally I think a just balance would work well. Okay, now step 4 would be, after we write our review, we should write the first draft of the review, and as soon as you have read the book and formed an opinion about it, it is advisable not to send the review for publication immediately after writing it. You should reread your review, preferably after some time, okay, and see if you want to say the same things about the book, or has things settled down. Are you seeing the book in a different perspective? Are you seeing characters in a different perspective? Are you seeing the narrative in a different perspective? And do you want to fine tune the first draft of your review? Okay, so then you write your final draft, and then go to the most important thing, is revising and finalizing the review. What should be after you have written it, you should check for spellings, particularly title, name of the author, publisher, even in the characters and places mentioned in the book, punctuation, grammar, factual information about the publisher, year of publication, and if you have quoted, then quotation from the book must be very, very accurate. Okay, and then also take into consideration, while you are revising your review, the logic of your argument. Is your assessment of the book based on solid evidence from the book, or is it your own assumptions, opinion and impression? And that will only come when you reread the review that you have written after a gap of time. Okay, because when you read the book, however detached or objective you want to be, and that you are reading it to review it, we have preconceived notions, we have value judgments, we have certain opinions that are so built in us that it is difficult for us to step away. So it is very important that you revisit your review, so that that it is based, or your review is based on solid evidence and not on our assumptions, opinions and impressions. And then the style, the tone and the language of the reviewer must be clear. The style should be straightforward, cordial, okay, instead of it being opaque, convoluted or prejudice, full of prejudice. Okay, so very important that we check, is our language clear, or is it opaque, or is the style straightforward or convoluted, distorted, or is the tone friendly, cordial, or is it full of prejudice? So this is very important. And then the balance that we were talking about, the balance between information and evaluation. It should be it should be a just balance, but then based on the readership, the reviewer can decide whether to give preference to information or evaluation, because he knows the audience that he is writing for. And we must remember that revision is never a waste of time, but is as important, if not more, as the writing itself, because it is at the revision stage that you moderate some of your strong impressions that you formed immediately after reading the book, and then this is where you polish it and make it impartial, unbiased and professional. All right, so let's quickly look at how a structure of a book review should be. So first would be the headline, the title. The title of the review should be short and may suggest the reviewer's assessment of the book. For example, I have some examples here for you. Shashi Tharoor's Inglorious Empire, Atonement by the British. Chetan Bhagat's Half Girlfriend, Old Wine in a New Bottle. So this is the author. Shashi Tharoor is the author, and Inglorious Empire is the name of the book. But Atonement by the British is the reviewer's assessment of the book. Similarly, Chetan Bhagat's Half Girlfriend is the author and the book. Old Wine in a New Bottle is the reviewer's assessment. Similarly, Ramchandra Guha's Makers of Modern India is the title of the book. It is written by Ramchandra Guha. Conformity as History is the reviewer's brief assessment, in a nutshell, assessing what the book is about. Now, the opening statement or your lead paragraph or opening statement, introduction in the lead paragraph is very, very important. A strong introduction is crucial to the success of the review. The lead paragraph should grab the attention of the reader and make them read the rest of the review. It should provide basic information about the book, the title, the genre, the author, publication details, etc. A short synopsis of the book and the reviewer's overall impression. All this must come in the lead paragraph, and then you should move on to the discussion in the next paragraph. Paragraphs following the lead paragraph, discusses the book further. The discussions may be spread over 2 or 3 paragraphs, which forms the body of the review. The discussion should cover important aspects of the book, the central theme, supporting evidence, style of writing, all that should come here. Relevant passages from the book may be quoted to illustrate, provide evidence for the points being made. All right. And then finally, the assessment, the evaluation. The evaluation of the book should be made based on the merits and demerits of the book, not our personal opinion. Praise or criticism of the book should be just like, debunking a book or criticizing a book, whatever you are doing. It should be praise and criticism of the book should be substantiated by evidence from the book, so that the reader makes an informed judgment about the review that is written. While unsupported praise is unconvincing, unsupported criticism betrays unprofessionalism and prejudice. So it works both ways. Okay, so providing a reason for your viewpoint or opinion or your perspective, whether it is, for praise or criticism, is very, very important. While assessing a book or it is important to remember that the review of the book is that the author has written and not the book the reviewer wishes the author had written. So you must keep that in mind. It is somebody else's work. You are just reviewing it. You cannot bring your personal opinions, add viewpoint and perspective and say that the book should have been written like that. Your job is to review the book that the author has written, not what you wish that the author had written. So be very, very fair, just and unbiased when you are reviewing the book. All right. And the final paragraph is very important as the lead paragraph in a review. Readers are likely to be, swayed by the last paragraph, the comments in the last paragraph. So readers are likely to remember and be influenced by the reviewer's comments in the last paragraph. Just like the lead paragraph grabs the attention of the reviewer and they continue to read, it's the final paragraph that is left with the reader. So the reviewer must take care while writing this final paragraph. The concluding paragraph contains the reviewer's final comments on the success or failure of the author, the reviewer's recommendation or rejection of the book, and also it will contain an advisory to the readers whether the book is worth reading or not. Okay, so the conclusion or the final paragraph is also very, very important. So all this must be kept in mind while we are reviewing the book. So let's do an example, so that what we have just looked at becomes clearer. So what are we going to do? We are going to look at Ruskin Bond's Blue Umbrella. We will try to do a book review of that. So while we are doing the review that we have I've got for you, look at all the words and phrases that are used. That should go into review writing. All right, the vocabulary that is used. So let's first look at the title. Okay, Ruskin Bond's The Blue Umbrella, a poignant story of greed and forgiveness. So that is the very brief assessment in a nutshell by the reviewer of Ruskin Bond's The Blue Umbrella. So the title. All right, then you have the, wait just a second, give me a second, yeah. Then you have the lead paragraph, okay, and here a very brief description of Ruskin Bond, and to grab the writer's attention, a teaser, a sampling of what the book contains. An Indian writer of British descent, Ruskin Bond is popular for his books for children. His stories resonate a deep understanding of the emotional life of India. His novella The Blue Umbrella is one such poignant story which dramatizes the complexities and innocence of village life. See how dramatically the reviewer has packed. You remember the term we were using with film review, front load, lead paragraph should contain the. So he's a Indian writer but of British descent, Ruskin Bond, okay. He's known for his book, children's book, okay. And then also, look at this. He is able to, bond and resonate the emotional life in India. And then a brief, sampling of what the Blue Umbrella is about. It's a poignant story, it's a sad story. So already the tone of the book is revealed. And then also his novella, so it's a short novel, and it's not a full-fledged novel. So the genre also has been identified, and also the main theme, it is talking about the complexity and innocence of village life. So that was the lead paragraph. Now moving on to the synopsis of the story very briefly. Set in the Himalayan region, The Blue Umbrella revolves around a little girl, Binya, and a village shopkeeper, Ram Bharosa. The plot involves Binya, who owns a blue umbrella which becomes a connoisseur of all eyes in the little Himalayan village. Ram Bharosa wants to own the umbrella somehow or the other. The story gives us an understanding of the life of the hill people and shows us the world from the little girl's point of view. So this whole novella is from the point of view of the little girl. So, and then a brief, very brief synopsis of what the story is about, the main character, the setting, everything has been introduced. All right. Now moving on to the details of the plot. Okay, Binya meets a team of tourists while grazing cows. The tourists display a bright blue umbrella which attracts Binya, and she agrees to swap her lucky charm, a pendant of leopard claw, with the umbrella. The umbrella soon becomes the object of desire for the entire village. Ram Bharosa makes futile attempts to lure Binya to sell the umbrella. The action reaches climax when Bharosa bribes Rajaram, a boy who works in his shop, to steal it. So, that's the details of the plot, okay. But Rajaram gets caught and confesses. The whole village boycotts Ram Bharosa for his shameful attempt. It is now the turn of Ram Bharosa to feel devastated. He realizes his mistake. In the story's denouement, look at the word, that is where, climax. Benia goes to the shop on the pretext of buying a toffee and intentionally leaves the umbrella behind. Ram Bharosa tries to return it to her, but Benia asks him to keep it. Remorseful and chastened, Ram Bharosa gives Benia a bear claw pendant as a return gift. Okay, so it's a beautiful story, and the reviewer has given all the important details so that you know whether you want to read it or not. And then look at the assessment or concluding paragraph. Ruskin Bond captures the emotions of children and the cunningness of the likes of adults like Ram Bharosa, and also shows the efficacy of forgiveness. The story captures the attention of the reader and fascinates children and adult alike. So even though he's a writer of children's book, it can be read by adults too. So that was how a brief book review, so that you know how it is written. So students, I know writing is a skill that must be acquired only when you practice it. We've been doing essays, we've been doing report writing, letter writing, and now we are doing review. So all this you can master and communicate effectively in only if you practice writing. So read books, all right, and attempt writing a review based on the structure that has been given to you. So I hope you will get into the habit of reading. Please visit the library, pick up a book, read it. Before reading, you know what you have to do, all right. So before and then keep those points in mind, then read the book, take down points, and then write your first draft, then write the final draft after maybe a day or two. Think about the book, even go back to the book if necessary. You feel like reading a chapter, maybe the climax, or the end, or you want to look at how the writer has begun the story. You want to pick up parts of the book and read, ruminate over that, and then fine tune, make changes or in your review, so that you are not coming through as a biased, opinionated, prejudiced reviewer. You're coming through as a balanced reviewer, presenting the interpretation and evaluation in a very unbiased way. So do read. I would encourage you to read and then also review books. Thank you, students. Take care and stay safe.